Hey y'all, Gramma here. It is a beautiful day. Well, some people might not think it's a beautiful day because it's been raining ever since I woke up this morning. But it's been a gentle, light, wonderful rain. The kind of rain that soaks in. The kind of rain that the garden has needed. And so I'm happy about that. So let me turn the camera around. It's not raining right now. At least I don't see any raindrops. I'll show you that. I don't see any raindrops in the puddles, which means it stopped raining for the moment. You can't see it. There's a little hummingbird sitting on one of the tomato cages. That is so funny. This little hummingbird has been living in the garden practically. It sits in that tomato cage. You can see it from my kitchen window. And here it is again. I don't know where it is. Look at this. Look at that bumblebee. It's just crawling along on that wooden handrail. That's weird. So let's go over and look at the tomatoes. These tomatoes, these cherry tomatoes, are just about as tall as that arch trellis. Isn't that something? Let's come over here and look. Look at this. Flowering all the way to the top. And down under here, there are some ripe tomatoes. This last one over here on this side, next to the trellis, is a sun gold. If you look down in here, you can see down in there, there are some ripe tomatoes down in there. Or are getting ripe anyway. Let's come look from the other side. See, so I picked a few, well, maybe half a dozen or so. Look right in here. There's one that I missed. I didn't see that one. There's a ripe one right there. And look, there's a Dr. Witch's. That is the first one on the large tomatoes. It's not quite ripe yet, but it's getting there. And look at the size of this tomato. This is Dr. Witch's yellow, and it has to be at least a pound. Maybe even more than a pound. It's enormous. Look at the size of it in my hand. I have large hands for a woman. But that tomato down there, so this tomato is the first one of all the tomatoes. And you know why? Because half of it, look at that. That is a victim of chickens. Darn. Well, the other ones will be getting ripe soon. And even that one that's getting ripe, maybe half of it will be good, even though it has chicken damage. Look at those. Isn't that something? Now they're much, much taller than the stakes. And this is leaning over toward, in the middle of this row of the walkway. So I'm going to have to figure out some way to tie these up and get them standing up more straight. Or just duck under them if I walk down the walkway. And here is that weird tomato, that fasciated tomato. I said it was two back to back in another video. As you can see, there's a seam. But this looks like a tomato here. And there's a tomato there. And on the other side you can see So there's where the stem's attached on this side. Walk around it and look at it from the other side. There's where the stem's attached there. So I don't know how many tomatoes this is. 4 maybe? I have no idea. But that's going to be very interesting when it ripens. And I've forgotten what this one is. It's got some kind of striping. Yeah, some striping to it. Now, I do have a map. Kind of a crazy thing. And I might actually have the label under here. I can look at that, and see what this one is. Where I have these cups on top of the where these cups are on top of the stakes, the writing is worn off on those, or the UV light is faded. I can't read the writing anymore, but I did write down. I made a map of the garden. In other words, I just graphed out on the paper and labeled what plant was what on paper. So I should be able to figure out what is what when I pick it. Look at those. That's a big clump of tomatoes, isn't it? Amazing. Now the other ones, there's not as many of them. That's the largest clump on this one. But they're all like this. All of the tomatoes aren't quite as big, but I've got lots of tomatoes. I'm going to have lots of tomatoes to can. And that's why I planted so many. Whoops. There's a sucker right here. Let me get that sucker. Yeah, I'll get that sucker. I noticed on this Dr. Witchy's when I was standing on the other row, there's a hole. I don't know what that is. Something pecked it. I hope it gets ripe soon. It's starting to rain a little bit again. Starting to feel a little sprinkle. Cucamelons. This is a little cucamelon big enough to pick. Another one right in here. Another one right here. It's so pretty. Oh, and Macajari melons have babies. There's one back in there. And here's one there. And look at the size of that one. That one's already got stripes on it. Aren't they cute? Look at this. I love the raindrops. The drops hanging off of them. They're so pretty. Can you see all the flowers on that squash? Let's go over there and look. This is a patty pan squash. Look at this. Look how many flowers. Now most of them are male flowers. Now, do you know how to tell male flowers from female flowers? Let me show you. Right here. Look at that, there's 2 flowers on the stem. But these are male flowers. You see that stem? Right down there at the base. That's not a fruit growing. That's just the base of the flower. But under it is just a straight stem. Let's see if I can find one that's a female. These are all males. Well, the females have little bitty fruit at the base of the flower. And I don't know if I see any. There's one that needs to be picked. That one. And there's a female flower. You see this right here? Move these leaves on top of it. There. Now see, there's the flower, and right directly under the flower is a tiny little fruit. And that is what the female flower looks like. Get this one. That one's a little smaller, but it's still a good size to pick. I can usually just break it right there. Now, this is an 8-ball squash. If you look right here, so there's a female flower. You see the fruit underneath the flower? And right in there, one of those is a female flower. I'll come back and pick those up in a minute. Okay, I see a lemon squash down there on the ground. I'm going to go around there and get that. Plants are so big. There are 2 lemon squash that are big enough to pick. Get this one. And that one. I'll get this one. I don't see any in here big enough to pick yet. There are some ripening. But not big enough to pick. See, there's a male flower. See the stem at the base of it? Okay. And the same thing on these cucumbers. I don't see any female flowers yet on those cucumbers. Ooh, look down here. Here are some more lemon squash that I need to pick. I'll put these down right here for a minute. Okay, look at that one. There's another one. Here's another one. Now look at all the tomatillos over there on the ground. My tomatillos are doing great. They're huge. They're sitting fruit. And they're dropping their fruit. I don't know what's going on there. Well, y'all, I need to go in. It's starting to rain again. But you see all of the flowers on these cucumbers. I should be having cucumbers over here pretty soon. So I picked this mini lemon squash over here. And we have 2 patty pan squash. And it's raining. So bye, y'all. See you next time. So let's go in, y'all. It's raining.